What's going on, guys? Matty-O Daddy-O Mining here. So, I haven't quite gotten the pool issue figured out, but importantly, my KS0 has been up and running for 14 hours without issue. No crashes. So, just to reiterate what I had going on last night was if I pointed the pool to Wooly Pulley or Hero Miners, the thing would ramp up and run for maybe 10 minutes, and then it would go to zero, and it would just crash. And then it would, sit here for maybe another 10 minutes or so at zero, and then it would ramp up again, and then run for 10 minutes, and then it would just come down to zero and crash. And, it would say 5-minute hash rate would be abnormal, gigahash would be at zero, connected state would go to unconnected, and it didn't matter if it was Wooly Pulley or if it was Hero Miners. Each one did it. Right now, I am connected to Caspa's pool, and for the past 14 hours, that seems like it has had no issues. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that, why it's doing that, but I have been consistently running, and in the last 12 hours or so, I have made 600 Caspa. I made, so far, actually total, I've made 836 Caspa. That's just from the random payouts from on the other two pools, mining here and there for, 10 minutes, and then it would quit, and then eventually I would accrue enough to get a payout. But yeah, I kind of want to go back today and test to see if it still does it. But I mean, it's one of those things, it's running. I almost don't want to poke the bear, you know what I mean? So, one other thing that I would like to do on this video today is I would like to test these temps. Just make a mental note right now that we are 38 degrees Celsius and 46 degrees Celsius currently on these. I have it stood up vertical. And what I would like to do is I bought a Noctua fan, a 120 mil Noctua fan, and I want to see what the temps are going to be. And also, I want to see what the difference is, whatever way you face it, and I've actually never seen that done on any of the channels yet. You got people out there that swear by, you got to point it down, and other people that are like, no, heat rises up, heat needs to get out of it, you need to pull the air out, you need to pull the hot air out, which makes sense to me. But you either have a channel that's 4 down, you have this one that's 4 up. I've actually never seen anybody do a test to see what actually is better. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll see you over at my workbench where the KS0 is here in just a second. So I'm going to unplug it, and then I'm going to plug in the watt meter. Which again, God, I'd hate to unplug this thing because it's been going, it's been working, but I would also like to see the power draw of this fan. Currently, I'm pulling 70 to 74 watts, which is a little bit more wattage than the first batch of KS0s that we saw. I think those are about 67 to 70 watts. And I think it's due because I really think they're using different fans, internal fans, on this batch than the first batch. The first one looked like they were Noctua fans, and they probably didn't run as much, or run as at a high RPM. These I feel like run at a higher RPM and use just a little bit more wattage. I mean, it's only 3 or 4 watts, so really in the grand scheme of things, who cares? It's not that big of a deal, but still, I'm just curious. So what we're gonna do is, I'm going to unplug it, plug in the watt meter, going to install the Noctua fan, and then we're just gonna try it. I have a mental note of the existing temperatures. I'm gonna try it, I think, laying down and pushing air down, laying down, pushing air up, standing up, pushing air in, and standing up, pulling air out. And I think that should be that should be sufficient enough to see where we stand as far as cooling goes on this thing. So yeah, I think that's about it for right now on the computer. So I will see you over at the workbench in a sec. Okay, here we are. So this is the Noctua fan that I grabbed, and I will leave a link in the description for this below. So the first thing, I'm going to plug in our little watt meter here. God, I really hate to unplug this thing, but you know, whatever. There we go. Okay, so we'll get that in there for now. We'll install the fan. Okay, so this is the Noctua fan, and it comes with the 3-pin there, but it also comes with some type of a USB adapter. And that just plugs in like so. So I'm thinking let's start with it this way. And actually, I mean, these existing fans, well, I said I said earlier when I was at my desk, these are different than the earlier ones. They don't look like they're Noctua fans. I mean, I guess they could be black Noctuas, but I feel like they're putting out more airflow than the other ones, because I remember people showing in their videos. I mean, these things were hot to the touch, and on this side, it's really not that warm. I mean, didn't Red Panda fry an egg on the top of his? And I mean, I could hold my hand there all day long. Like, yeah, it's warm, but it's not hot. The brick is definitely hotter than the device itself. I mean, this thing, I mean, my wood table here is about, I don't know, 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches thick, and I can actually feel the heat through the bottom of the wood. And again, wood, it's probably a bad idea to have it on wood, but you know, whatever. Okay, we will start with it this way. Why not? We'll just pick away and go. Now, I feel like the hardware kit that they included with these, I don't really know how I'm going to attach this. And we got these guys, but they're not long enough to go all the way through. That just seems odd. That's just extra parts, but yeah, dropping stuff. But yeah, these screws, they're not long enough, so I got to somehow finagle it down here and then go down from above to screw it in. Hopefully they'll fit in here. I should probably do a dry fit test before. And then they also include these little plugs. I don't know how the hell those are going to work either. So maybe we should do a test first. You know, and they're not magnetic. Yeah, those screws don't fit there, so that's not going to work. All right, I'm going to see what else I can find around here, so I'll be right back with you. Okay, I was able to find some of these screws. I already got one in here, but it looks like these will work. And they are longer. They will go through the fan and into the threads. It's not going to go into anything and damage anything on the device itself, so we're good there. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, and I probably should have did this before I turned it off, but I'm going to get a base reading with it laying down like this. I had it set up like this originally, and I'm just curious to see how it is going to perform by itself with no top fan while it's laying down like this. So I will power it up and I'll be right back with you. Man, this thing needs a backlight. You can barely see it. So we are sitting at 70.9 watts with the Noctua fan running. I did see this thing jump up to 79 watts. I don't know if it's going to jump. But yeah, take my word for it. 70.9 watts to, man, it's so hard to say. 70.9 watts to 79 watts is what we're seeing on this device. And I had I did a fruition upgrade on my L7 miner, and these are the fan covers off of those original fans that were on that L7, and I just put it on here just for, you know, extra support, just because. So I did do my testing for this, and I think we have a clear winner on which way is best. If vertical is best, or horizontal is best, or if air blowing down, or if air pulling out is going to give us the best results for temperature. So I created a spreadsheet. Seb Heslow, eat your heart out. Just kidding. It's yeah, it's not anywhere as good as Seb's. That dude is amazing, and all the information that he pulls together on his spreadsheets. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Oh, all right. I'll see you guys in a sec. All right, here we are back at the computer again. Okay, so before we get into the spreadsheet, I just kind of want to touch on a few things that we talked about earlier as far as issues go. So the first issue that I spoke about earlier was the pool issue that I was having. And just to recap on that one, what would happen is when I was connected to Hero Miners or Wooly Pulley, it would mine for a few minutes and crash. So I mean, it would ramp up, and then it would be good for 10 minutes or so, and then it would all go to zero. The 5-minute hash rate here would say abnormal. Hash rate would be at 0. Pool state would say unconnected. And I mean, if it was saying unconnected, that to me would say that I had some type of a networking problem somewhere. But Caspa Pool worked fine. And I changed network cables. I have other devices that, I tested other devices plugged into that, and no problem at all. So I don't think it was a networking issue at all. But as far as why both Wooly Pulley and Hero Miners don't work, I'm not sure. But Caspa Pool appears to be working fine. I will probably test those pools out again in a couple of days. I kind of want to let this thing run for a few days unbothered and just kind of let it go and do its thing, because I've been kind of poking and prodding it since I got it 24 hours ago, 36 hours ago. The other issue that I'm having is with those dang internal fans. I don't understand, I guess, the reasoning and why they do what they do or don't do, really. So to recap on that one, the problem that I'm having there is they don't start up right away or sometimes at all. I thought I had the issue licked. I tried testing that theory, and I was successful until I installed that knock to a fan. So what would happen with that one is I would start the miner, it would start hashing, and it'd be running for 10, 11, 12 minutes, and I would notice that the fans were not working. They were not running. They would be down here, they would say 0 on both. And I actually checked it on the physical device itself, like they were not spinning. And then the only way to remedy that was to go to mining settings here. And even though I had my config already done, I would have to click save, and then they would ramp up. Before I installed the knock to a fan, I ended up rebooting it or unplugging it and plugging it back in later. While I was waiting it to ramp up and do its thing, I went about doing, working on whatever I was working on. Then about 20 minutes goes by, and I kind of have a panic moment. And I'm like, oh crap, the fans aren't running. I need to do my little workaround. And I go into the page here and then scroll down to the fans, and lo and behold, they're actually running. So I was like, okay, well, is it on a timer or something like that? Because at that time, it had been sitting at about 15 or 16 minutes. So I rebooted, tested that theory again, and at about the 15, 16-minute mark, I noticed the fans started ramping up. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, maybe that's just it. It's on a timer, whatever. Okay. Well, then I installed that knock to a fan, and I had the KS0 plugged into a watt meter. I was checking wattages. Well, after I was done with that test, I wanted to unplug it and plug it straight, back straight into the outlet, because you're not supposed to leave, those things plugged into those watt meters for any extended period of time. It's, fire hazard. So at the time, I had the knock to a fan USB plugged in. So I unplugged it from the watt meter, plugged it back into the wall, and then, the thing ramped up, and I got to about 20 minutes or so, and the knock to a USB fan is running. And it was keeping things, I want to say it was keeping things around. It was like 42 on this one and maybe 52 on this one, somewhere in there. But the internal fans were not running. I did not understand that. So I gave it, another few minutes. I think I got to like 20, 25 minutes, and they were still not running. So that got me to thinking, okay, well, maybe it's these temps. Maybe it has to hit a certain temp before it goes on. I unplugged the USB, and I think I was at maybe 20, 25 minutes at that time, and I let it go. to see if those fans would kick on. And I got to like 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, and nothing. The internal fans would not kick on. This temperature, the second temperature, I think this one was in the 50s, and this one got up to damn near 70. So I unplugged it again and then let it go for another 15 minutes, and then the fans finally kicked on. And then I plugged the USB from the external Noctua back in. So I don't know if having that USB engaged is screwing with the fans. I'm not really sure. I really wish that Ice River would get back to me. I hit them up. I hit them up on Telegram 2 days ago about this, and not 2 days ago. I just got it like yesterday. So I hit them up yesterday. It's been a day, and they've, I'm sure they're getting bombarded right now by a lot of people that are having issues with this and that. So, obviously I'll give them a little bit to respond to me. But anyways, yeah. So if anybody out there that has a KS0 that came from this second batch, or hell, even the first batch, like, is anybody having these problems? Are you having problems with connecting to certain pools? Are you having problems with the fans actually turning on? Let me know down in the comments, because I would really like to know why this thing is working the way it's working. Okay, so enough of that, and let's get to spreadsheets. See, little tiny spreadsheet. I was being very sarcastic when I said, Seb Heslow, eat your heart out. So, but yeah, anyways, that guy, man, he's definitely one of the main ones that I follow. Dude does great work, great information. Okay, so anyways, the way that I had this set up, I did a temp with it vertical and horizontal. So I did a test with no fan at vertical, and that was at 38 Celsius, 46 Celsius. Horizontal was 46 and 54. Now, just to keep in mind, the way that I have mine set up when it was horizontal, it's sitting on a flat wood workbench. It's not sitting on a metal shelf with, slats or holes in it that allow air to come up from underneath. And in all honesty, if you have some type of a shelving unit like that does allow the airflow from underneath, it's probably going to be the exact same scenario as having it vertical. So, but this is for my current setup, and I'm sure there's other people that have it set up like this as well. So let's proceed. Okay, so with the fan pointing downward, blowing air into the device. At vertical is 35 and 43 degrees Celsius. At horizontal, 38 and 48 degrees Celsius. Okay, so now with the fan blowing upward, so sucking air out of the unit. At horizontal, you got 38 and 46 degrees Celsius. And then the winner, the one that gets you the best cooling for your buck, that is having it vertical and having the fan face upwards, sucking air out of the unit, and that comes in at 35 and 42 degrees Celsius. So, not crazy work here by any means, but, I was interested to see which of the best one was, and I'm sure there were other people out there interested as well. So, yeah, so on that note, as I say at the end of every single one of these videos, I will never ask for a like or a subscribe at the beginning of these videos. I feel like it's tacky, and I feel like I shouldn't ask for that when I haven't even done anything yet. So, if you enjoyed this material, if I helped you out in any way, shape, or form, give me a like, give me a subscribe. All right, that about wraps it up. Everybody have a wonderful Saturday night and an even better Sunday. See you guys.